Dear viewers, in the first part of this film, we have discussed introduction to marketing and marketing mix strategies. In this part of the film, we are going to discuss the product strategies. Under the product strategies, we are going to take up the product items, product mix strategies, branding strategies, packaging strategies, labeling strategies, guarantee strategies, and product life cycle strategies. We will also be discussing some part of the strategies which will be required to be implemented during the introduction of new products or launching of the new products. So this will be the gamut of discussion during this part of the film. Coming to the first P, that is product strategies. In the product strategies, we discuss the strategies regarding the product and its planning, how to design the product so as to suit the market, so as to suit the wants and needs of the customers. Under the product strategies, we generally discuss product items or product lines or product mix. That is, how many items the company should manufacture and sell, whether they should go for a single product or they can go for number of products. When there are number of products, then those may be regarded as lines, product lines. And when there are several lines and several items in each line of the product, there are several product lines, then that requires a marketing mix or a product mix strategy. That will be regarded as product mix of the company. So product mix of the company may be like this. There may be line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, where items may be listed like this: L1, L2, L3. Under this, it may be, let us put it L11, L12, L13. This is L22, L23. Suppose there are 2 items in this, there are 3 items in this. Under third line, there may be 4 items, suppose. These are regarded as L33 or L31, L32, L33, L34. Fourth line, suppose having only one this thing, so L41. One item only is there. So this may be a product mix for a company. Take the example of Pico Electronics, Philips. They are manufacturing bulbs, they are manufacturing electric tubes, they are manufacturing batteries, they are manufacturing TVs, they are manufacturing transistor radios. So each of these, one line is of the radios, other line is that of TVs, third line is that of batteries, fourth line is that of bulbs, fifth line is that of electric tubes. So, this type of constitution may be emerging as such for the firm, and this is regarded as, this denotes the width of the product mix, this dimension denotes the depth. Depth and width of the product mix. Width means how many items in each line, and depth means how many lines in the product mix. There is another dimension which is referred to as consistency. Consistency of the product mix. Except the depth, width, consistency is the third one. Consistency means how much relationship the product lines of the company are having to each other. How related are the product lines of the company, so that they can take advantage of the same technology, same markets, same customers and same people, employees. Like, take the example again with regard to consistency, that of Philips. All their products are having consistency because their manufacturing is from the same plants almost, and they are using electricity at some point of time. Most of their products are using electricity at most of the time. So, that way their retail outlets are their own outlets. They are not much dependent on the private retail outlets. They are having their own stores, own showrooms where they are selling. Because of this consistency effect, because they are either related at the manufacturing stage, or the product are related at the selling stage or handling stage. So, depth, width and consistency are three things which are to be understood under the product mix. So, this is very clear that whether company should go for single item or lines or mix. Second thing is what to offer under the product offerings, whether you are offering physical dimension of the product, different shapes, sizes, styles, or you are offering the bundle of satisfaction and benefits. Bundle of satisfaction. Whether you are doing this, your salesman is doing this, or your company as such totally is saying that my product is having these technological features. When you are telling a buyer, or your salesman goes and tells to the buyer, customer, he tells mostly about the physical products. Like if you are selling bulbs, if somebody asks what are you selling, he'll tell bulbs. If you ask him again, what did you say, he'll tell bulbs. So, or if they are selling drills, then he'll tell I am telling you drills. So, that is all physical, no? Instead, he should restrict himself on the benefit part of it. When your salesman or you are selling something, marketing something, you have to
resort to satisfaction and benefits what you are offering to the people. Offerings part is more important than the physical part, because there are so many people who are offering the physical things, physical dimensions, but they may not be tackling the buyer from the psychological point of view. A housewife, if purchasing a washing machine, she will be more interested in that her washing machine keeps on working and giving the same service throughout. If something goes wrong with the machine, she is not satisfied with the benefits you have offered or the physical product you have offered. She is not interested in the mechanical manufacturing or mechanical parts which are associated with the machine, which are assembled in the machine. What motor is there, electric motor? She is not interested. She will not open it up any time of the life. Unless it is functioning okay, she is satisfied with that. But if something goes wrong with that, then she objects to it. And so physical things may not hold good as such. Now some companies like IBM, they say we should go for system selling. System selling. They say we sell systems. No? That is, when you refer to computer, how many systems you are having? How many systems you are having? That is, computer as a whole is supplied by some company. There are keyboards, there may be central unit, there may be monitor. So all those things form the system. IBM is international business machine, the company which is not operating in India, and it was asked to go due to that 40% equity that they were asked to bring down their equity participation to 40%, but they didn't agree to that, and both IBM and Coca-Cola were asked at Janata government time, they were asked to go from India, and thereafter they didn't come. There may be some negotiations going on now, again this IBM may enter. But IBM's philosophy was, you are to offer the total systems. That system selling means you provide to the buyer everything which is associated with your product. So you become a system seller. IBM is giving the hardware, they are giving the software, they are giving the training part, and they'll install the machine, and all sort of training or any servicing needed, they'll keep on offering it from time to time, and that is what is needed by the buyer. So your offering should be like that. You have to define your business in terms of the satisfaction or offerings or utilities your products are going to render to the customer. You have to define it very broadly as such. It is not that at some point of time marketing myopia may occur. Marketing myopia means short-sightedness in the business. Like according to one expert, Theodore Levitt, he said that business failed due to some businesses failed in the international level also, because they never thought of defining their business from the broad point of view and from the point of view of the utilities, satisfaction and benefits. He cited the example of railways, US railways particularly. He said railways never said they are in transportation business. They should have said that they are in the transportation business. They said we are railways. So their business, transportation business, was taken up by airways, transport corporations or transport operators, pipelines, shipping companies, which took over the other businesses which was otherwise a transportation business. Similarly, he gives the example of dry cleaners. Dry cleaners lost their business because of lot of detergents coming into them. They never said we are in the washing business, but they said that they are in the dry cleaning business. So, their business got eroded. Similarly, Hollywood films, they said we are in the film business, they never said in the entertainment business. They should have defined their business as entertainment rather than saying it that this is films we are manufacturing. So, Hollywood films were taken over by the TVs and various other audio visuals which came later on. People never went to cinema halls. You might have seen the case in India also, which was prevalent for till now, and now because some new films are coming and people want to see it on bigger screen, so they are going now, they have started going to the cinema halls, utilizing the services of cinema halls. Previously it was all eroded, no, almost they were at the verge of closure, and that is due to the marketing myopia. You have to define your business, your marketing strategies in view of the offerings, benefits and the satisfactions. Similarly, in that context only, I can tell you, if you are selling lipsticks, suppose, or cosmetics, you are selling beauty. They tell you they are selling beauty. If you are selling medicines, they say we are selling health. So, you are to define the business like that. A women purchasing lipstick may not be purchasing a small piece of cosmetic or a rod sort of thing, but she is purchasing beauty, she is purchasing something which is related to beauty, and hence you are to define your business as we are in the beauty business rather than saying it we are in the cosmetic. Similarly, you are to say it that we are in the health business rather than saying it that we are in some medicines of such diseases. So, that are the things which are more important in the marketing. Thirdly, branding strategies. There are some terms used: brand name, brand mark, or trademark. Trademark. What is branding? Branding is a process by which you give a name, a design, a symbol, a mark to your product, and in that process you involve yourself in branding of the products. So, that is the process of branding the product. Why branding is important? Because of identification of product from several other products which may be of the similar make as such. So, you are to distinguish it by the brands or by the brand names, brand marks, trademarks. Brand name is a symbol on the product, a letters, a identification which you can read, which you can utter. No? Something written in language as such, there may be certain words written on the product, like Philips, Philips is written. So, that you can utter as such. But something which you cannot utter, which you cannot vocalize, that is called brand mark. And something which provides you legal protection in the court of law, that is known as trademark or the patent of the product. So, this is all coloring words written on that, symbols, designs, some markings which may be made on the products, that all refer to the branding. Now, what can be the strategies in branding? This is the purpose of branding. Why? Because you are to identify the products from other products and memorize. People can memorize the products by that branding. Like you can remember Lux, Rexona, Hamam, toilet soap. Branding strategies can be mostly we refer to two strategies. One is individual branding, and second is group branding, which may also be referred as umbrella branding or blanket branding. Individual branding, who are the people using it? Take the example of Hindustan Lever. They are manufacturing about a dozen toilet soaps, but they are individually naming all the toilet soaps. One is Lux, other is Rexona, third is Pears, fourth is Sunlight, fifth is Lifebuoy. All are coming from Hindustan Lever. Sometimes people don't know who is manufacturing it. So, what is the benefit of individual branding strategy? You get the benefits by the way that when you are to launch the product in the market, you have to spend a lot. That is perhaps the disadvantage, that you have to spend on each product. You have to spend while launching. Suppose they Hindustan Lever launched Liril, then they had to spend a lot of money on that. But the advantage associated is that when the product fails, by chance the product fails in the market, like some of the products of Hindustan Levers failed in the market. Like one time they introduced Hima peas, frozen peas in the market, and the product failed. They have to withdraw the product from the market. Product couldn't sell because green peas were available in the market, and timing of introducing that product in the market was not very good, and hence Hima peas failed. A very good product of Hindustan Levers failed. Similarly, Signal toothpaste, which Hindustan Lever introduced, it couldn't pick up, never went up to 5% sales or market share as compared to Colgate, Palmolive and other companies which have launched their products, or Balsara hygiene products, which was launched much later than Hindustan Lever Signal, but they could promise toothpaste. They could make a market of or capture a market of 25% to 30%. Now, when the product fails in the market, then you have the real advantage of individual branding strategy, because you silently withdraw the product from the market or modify the product, you again relaunch the product. Oswal Agro's Oasis failed several times, and they again withdrew the product from the market, again processed it, again sent it with new perfumes and other things. Again the product failed, again they did the same thing. So, you can silently withdraw the product from the market, and that doesn't affect the total corporate image of the company. Hindustan Lever's image doesn't get spoiled in the process. If some of their products, Signal failed or Jai toilet soap failed, or their some product, other product like Hima peas failed, they didn't have the disadvantage. Their image didn't get tarnished. Company's image remained as such intact. But on the other hand, certain companies like Godrej, Tata, L&T, they go for group branding strategies. They all, Tata product will always name on the buses, you might have seen T written and then rounded. That means a bus from Tata or a truck from Tata Telco's truck, or even Tomco's product, they will write Hamam and then say this is Tata's product. Hamam coming from Tomco, but they will write Hamam brand name of the product, then they will write their group name also, that is this is a product from Tata. With all the products of Tata you will find Tata's name. Likewise Godrej name, this is Ganga from Godrej, or Godrej, then they write Ganga. Any furniture item, any almirah or any refrigerator have the name of Godrej first and then the name of the item or brand as such. So, group branding is also a strategy adopted by different companies, but there are again disadvantages, advantages associated with it. Like when you are to launch the product in the market, as compared to individual branding, they have to spend less, because when they launched, you remember Ganga toilet soap, then they could launch it very easily, Godrej people, because Godrej name was selling. As you generally refer to it, that company's name sells. But if suppose some product of Godrej fails, Tata's fails, then whole of the Tata's house or Godrej house's image is tarnished, that image get affected, corporate image get affected. So that's why the branding strategies, which are group branding strategies, are used by some people. Some people use the individual branding strategies. Different people have different choices, keeping in view their nature of the products and their corporate policies as such. Other thing which we can cover under this product strategy is product life cycle. Product life cycle and strategies associated with that. Under the product life cycle, it is said that each product undergoes a life cycle like the living organisms. So every product starts from this place, which is referred to as introduction stage. It goes up in the growth stage, then it tapers like this. Similarly, the profit curve is also like this. It has smooth as such, and this slope is smooth. Now this is referred to as introduction stage. Introduction stage of the product life cycle, where the sale is minimum and profits are negative. This is called profit curve. This is sales curve. Second stage is the growth stage. Third stage is maturity stage. Fourth stage is decline stage. So under the introduction stage, sale is very less, touching this horizontal line. Now sales in the growth stage rises and it becomes rather very steep upward trend is exhibited by the growth curve here in the sales curve. Profit also rise because you are at that time you are in the monopoly position or at the most oligopoly situation maybe there in the product. But when you enter in the maturity stage, you enter in the perfect competition stage, and your so many competitors enter in the fray. Same product is being manufactured by so many other people now, and hence your profitability is not rising, and it is curve is tapering off now. It is getting horizontal now rather than taking a vertical shape. So it is tapering off, and also the at the maturity stage your sales will taper off because so many other people are there, and by that time people are having lot of choice in the product, and hence the market share is going to other competitors also, and your sales get reduced, and ultimately it start decaying and enters in the decline zone, and where the sales decline drastically, they go down drastically. In that, profit naturally have to go down, and it may attain a zero level, or it may be something going like this. If you are doing some modification in the product, it may be touching this curve, or again I put it like this. If you don't take any step at the decline stage in modifying the product, it may go down. Now, what can be the strategies for this? In introduction stage, you have to have maximum price because you are in the monopoly position. This is your own innovation as a new product you are introducing in the market. You are the only person manufacturing it. So, maximum price, highest price. You do lot of advertising. Advertising expenditure is very high because you are to make other people aware of it, and which will raise the market share. So, advertising promotion expenditure will be high. Beside that, your distribution will be limited distribution, exclusive distribution, which is called maybe there because you don't have established your distribution channels by that time. Now, growth stage, in growth stage what can be the strategies? You try to take hold of the new segments of the market, new people who are in the market. So, new layers which are price sensitive layer, that may be taken care of. Even if you have to reduce the price, you can reduce the price and reduce the price slightly, and that price sensitive layer can be overcome or market share can be increased. So, here you can do that. Your advertising expenditure, promotional expenditure will be again high, but prices will be bit lesser than what you are charging here. Here you were charging the skimming prices, here you are charging again the skimming prices but at a lower rate. Maturity stage, the strategies can be, under the maturity stage, the strategies may be regarding the product. You have to modify the product, readjust the product, so that other people who may not be using the products, they can be told that there are some other uses of the product beside the basic use of the product. So, you develop new unique selling proposition, USPs, to the product, and you trade a bargain between the different marketing mix elements. You modify the product, you increase the quality, then you charge more price. So, there is a trade off between the price and products, or you decrease the advertising, you decrease the prices, you increase the advertising, you increase the prices. So, there is a trade off between the marketing mix elements so as to gain maximum sales. Decline stage, in decline stage the strategies will be either you milk out the market, whatsoever is left in the market you milk that out, milking strategy, or there may be concentration strategies, that you give bit of modification to the product, recycle to the product by doing bit of modification, and it will take another cycle, and by that you milk out the market, or you go for concentrating on the product and modifying it. Thirdly, you can think of dropping the product or abandoning the product because it is going further downwards, and hence there is no profit and there is no use staying in the same business. So, these are some of the strategies which you can think of in the product life cycle.
Dear viewers, so far in this film we have seen the product strategies. Under the product strategies, you have seen the product items and product mix strategies, branding strategies, packaging strategies, labeling strategies, and guarantee strategies have also been discussed in this part of the film. Whereas we have also discussed some other strategies like product life cycle strategies and strategies required for launching the new product in the market. In the next part of the film, we are going to discuss the pricing strategies.